Hello, dear Scorpio. I want to speak to you directly, with the kind of honesty that does not soften the edges. Because the date of October 3rd, 2025, carries a weight you cannot ignore. And though it may seem far away, its energy is already building. And for you, this moment represents the closing of a cycle that began 15 years ago. A cycle you did not choose willingly, but one that shaped you in ways you may not fully understand yet. And that cycle, Scorpio, began when Saturn moved into the 12th house of your sky back in 2010, marking the start of a long period where you were forced to confront shadows, betrayals, losses, isolation, and karmic lessons that tested your soul to its core. For 15 years, you've been walking through corridors that felt more like prisons than pathways. And you know better than most how heavy silence can become when it is loaded with grief, disappointment, or abandonment. Because those years carried you through betrayals from people you trusted, separations from people you thought would never leave, and nights where your heart felt cracked under the pressure of too many questions with no answers. Yet you kept moving forward, step by step, even when the light was dim, even when hope felt like a fragile thread. Scorpio, this was not punishment. Though I know it felt like it at times, it was initiation. And Saturn, the old gatekeeper, was not trying to destroy you, but to strip away illusions, to burn off layers of dependence and fear so that only the truest part of you could remain. The truth is, many signs would have collapsed under this cycle. Because Saturn in the 12th is not gentle. It digs deep into the subconscious. It forces you to face the weight of karmas that go beyond just this lifetime. And for Scorpio, the intensity doubled because you are already a sign built to swim in depth, to transform through shadow, to rise after every fall. But this cycle was longer, harder, and more isolating than most. And you may have often asked yourself what you did wrong, why fate seemed to place so many walls in your way, why others seemed to move with ease while you kept finding yourself on your knees. But Scorpio, there is something vital you need to understand as we approach this date, because October 3rd does not come to continue your suffering. It comes to mark its end. And what has stretched on for 15 years reaches a conclusion, a full stop written, not by your hands, but by the universe itself. A closing that cannot be delayed and will not be denied. What this means for you is that every scar, every sleepless night, every time you stood in silence while others judged you or abandoned you has not been wasted. It has been collected, stored, transformed within you. And on that day, the weight turns into release. The losses turn into wisdom. And the pain becomes the soil from which new life will grow. I know that when you look back at the years since 2010, you can count too many moments of collapse. The times when you felt betrayed in friendships, in love, in trust. The times when family or work left you carrying burdens alone, and though you may not have seen it then, each of those losses was removing from your path people and situations that were never meant to travel into your future. The universe protected you in ways that felt cruel, because it took away before it gave. But the truth is, those endings cleared the space that you needed to stand fully in your own energy when the time of opening finally arrived. On October 3rd, the closing is not quiet, it is not subtle, it is precise, and it is total. And for Scorpio, it marks the moment when you are released from the cycle of karmic debts that were binding you for over a decade. This is not about small shifts or temporary relief. It is about a turning point so sharp that the life you lived before will not resemble the life you will live after. And that is why you must be awake to it, ready for it, prepared to accept what it delivers. You may feel in your body already the signs of this ending approaching, The heaviness you carried for years is loosening. The clarity you did not have is beginning to flicker like a light in the distance. The betrayals that once kept you awake at night no longer sting in the same way. They have become memories rather than open wounds. Even your loneliness has begun to shift. No longer the cold silence of abandonment, but the spacious quiet of preparation. Because Scorpio, you were never meant to remain trapped in the shadows of the last 15 years. You were meant to rise beyond them. And October 3rd is the marker of that rising. I want you to understand something important. This date is not magic in the sense of instant miracles. It is magic in the sense of cosmic timing. The way Saturn keeps records and balances accounts. The way karmic contracts have expiration points. And after carrying what you carried since 2010, your debt is not only cleared, it is transformed into credit, into power, into strength that will serve you as you walk forward. That is why when I say the cycle ends, I mean that you will no longer be asked to pay with pain. You will be invited to build with wisdom. Scorpio, you need to be ready. Because endings like this do not pass quietly. They shake. They burn. They strip the last remnants away. And you may notice in the days around October 3rd that conflict rises one final time, or that emotions surface in ways you thought you had buried. But these are not signs of punishment. They are the final echoes of a long cycle dying. And the more you accept them, the faster the release comes. By the time the date passes, you will step into a new chapter where the past does not define you, where you are no longer carrying the karmic weight of 15 years, and where you can finally breathe without the constant pressure of survival. So, my dear Scorpio, hold steady, because this moment is not random. It has been calculated with precision, and you are stronger than you realize, because you have been trained by fire and shadow for a decade and a half, and now you are prepared for what comes after. October 3rd is the end of the road you began in 2010, and it is the doorway into a life that will be unrecognizable compared to the one you have been living. This is not about hope. It is about fact cycles close. Karma clears. And you are standing at the edge of a release that was promised to you long before you understood its meaning. You are ready. Scorpio, the universe has decided the cycle ends. And you will not walk into the next 15 years as the same person who walked through the last 15. You will walk as someone who has survived, transformed, and claimed the truth of their own strength. And Scorpio, I need you to hear this clearly, because October 3rd, 2025, is not just another date on a calendar. It is the line that separates what was from what will be in / Reden's Sixter. It is the moment when the universe closes the prison door that held you for 15 long years and opens before you a new passage. One that does not carry the weight of punishment but the invitation of freedom. This day is a release point, a cosmic expiration of debt, and when it arrives, you will feel it not only in your mind but in your body and spirit, as if the air itself has shifted, as if something long pressing down upon your chest has finally been lifted. For a decade and a half, every step you took has been shaped by lessons that felt endless, by karma that kept circling back, by shadows that refused to let go. But this moment marks the breaking of the cycle, the final turn of the wheel, the confirmation that the trials of the past are no longer the structure of your future. The image I see for you, Scorpio, is of a gate that has been locked for years. Its hinges rusted with time and sorrow. Its weight impossible to move. And yet on this day, the lock falls away. The doors swing open, and a light too bright to be denied pours through. You are not meant to remain outside in the cold any longer. You are being welcomed into a new cycle where your scars are no longer chains but symbols of survival, where your wounds no longer bleed but shine as proof of transformation. October 3rd is not subtle, it is decisive. It is the exact moment that shifts the current of your life, And whether you are ready or not, the tide will carry you forward. But you, Scorpio, are not a stranger to deep waters. And this tide is not here to drown you, it is here to deliver you. And Scorpio, once the door of October 3rd swings open, the universe wastes no time in moving you forward. Because this is not a gentle shift, but a sequence, a chain of events designed with precision. Each day from the 3rd to the 7th acting as a rung on the ladder of your release, and the rhythm of it will feel almost scripted, as though you are walking through pages already written, and yet every choice you make within them will shape how your story unfolds beyond this threshold. On October 3rd itself, the first spark arrives, and it will come not as a vague intuition but as a clear signal, something undeniable. A phone call, a message, an unexpected encounter, and a sudden shift in your external world that mirrors the change already stirring inside you. You may not recognize it at first glance as the opening of a new path, but your body will know. You will feel that chill down your spine, that acceleration of the heartbeat, that sudden awareness that this is not just another moment. This is the knock on the door you have been waiting for. And it will not be an accident. The universe does not stumble on timing. Scorpio, it delivers precisely when it must. And on this day, the sign is your confirmation that the prison of 15 years has truly closed, and the new chapter has begun. Then comes October 4th, and with it, the weight of choice. The signal you received the day before will demand a response, and it will not allow you to remain neutral. You will be asked to make a decision you have delayed, perhaps for months, perhaps for years. A decision that frightened you into silence or indecision. And yet here it will stand again, illuminated by the harvest moon's glow. Undeniable, unavoidable. This day may feel heavy, because decisions that change the trajectory of life always do, but it will also feel liberating, because deep within you, Scorpio, you will know it is time. The truth is, the decision was always waiting for you. The last 15 years were simply preparation to ensure that when the moment came, you had the clarity, the resilience, and the strength to choose without hesitation. Do not underestimate the power of this day. It is the axis on which your future turns. On October 5th, the universe moves quickly, faster than you may believe possible. Because the choice you make on the 4th does not linger in theory, it begins to manifest in reality almost immediately. You will see movement, doors opening, conversations shifting, opportunities materializing that confirm your step forward was not just symbolic but catalytic. This is the day when you realize that energy once trapped has been released, and everything you touch seems to rearrange itself in response to your alignment. For years, progress may have felt like dragging your feet through mud, each step requiring immense effort. But now you will feel the current carry you, and though it may be overwhelming, it is proof that the shift is real. It is not just internal, it is external, and the world around you bends to mirror the decision you made. October 6th, however, does not let you pass without one final encounter. This is the day you come face to face with the last of your old fears. The shadow that has haunted you through the cycle, the voice of doubt or the memory of betrayal, or the core wound that kept whispering you were not enough. You were not ready. You would not succeed. It may appear as a person, a conversation, a sudden challenge, or even an internal surge of anxiety that feels like it drags you back to the past. But know this, Scorpio, this is not regression. This is confrontation. The universe does not allow you to walk untested into the new chapter. And so it places before you the shape of your last fear, asking only that you stand bewes, that you face it without retreat, that you claim with your entire being that the cycle is over and you are no longer bound by what once held you down. It will not destroy you. It will not even linger beyond this day. But it must be faced, for fear cannot be carried into freedom. Across these 4 days, you will feel as though you are being pulled through a tunnel of transformation. Each moment deliberate, each shift accelerating the next. By the time you step out of October 6th, you will have moved through signal, choice, manifestation, and confrontation. And what waits on October 7th is something entirely new: reclamation of power, the reactivation of every gift and strength you have cultivated during 15 years of fire. But before you arrive there, Scorpio, honor each step of the passage. On the 3rd, recognize the sign. On the 4th, choose with courage. On the 5th, move with trust as reality rearranges. On the 6th, confront without flinching. This sequence is not random. It is ritual, a sacred unfolding timed by the cosmos itself. And through it all, remember this truth: you are not being tested to prove your worth. You are being guided to realize it. The signals, the decisions, the manifestations, the fears, they are not traps but gateways. Each one designed to push you further into the freedom that is already yours. You may feel exhausted, Scorpio, as though 15 years of trials have left little in reserve. But understand that these days are not about draining you. They are about releasing what has been stored inside. The hidden strength, the resilience, the clarity that you built in silence while carrying burdens no one else could see. This is why you must walk with awareness through October 3rd to 6th. The cycle that began in 2010 has taken much from you, but it has also left you with treasures that cannot be destroyed. Treasures forged in loss, in solitude, and betrayal. Treasures that surface now as unshakable strength. Intuition sharpened like a blade, and wisdom carved into your bones. Each of these days calls forth a piece of that treasure, until by the end, you stand not as someone crawling out of survival, but as someone prepared to live, to lead, to rise. So, my dear Scorpio, let your heart prepare. Let your spirit steady itself, because the days between October 3rd and 6th are not just days on a calendar. They are the corridor of your liberation. And when you pass through them, nothing will be the same. The chains will not return. The shadows will not bind. The fear will not define you. You are walking into a new chapter, and the universe itself has written the sequence to ensure that you cannot miss your moment. All you must do is remain awake, remain willing, remain true, and each day will carry you closer to the destiny you were meant to claim. And Scorpio, once the tunnel of those days between October 3rd and October 6th has carried you through its ritual of release, what opens before you is not simply a new chapter. It is a complete transformation, a reshaping of your life on every level. And the scale of it may leave you breathless at first. Because for 15 years, you have been walking under weight, often bracing yourself for disappointment, carrying the expectation that things could fall apart again at any moment. And suddenly, the structure changes. The universe no longer asks you to endure, but to receive. And this shift into reception will feel so foreign that at first you may even resist it, questioning whether it is real, wondering if it is only temporary. But Scorpio, I must tell you with clarity, the changes that follow this cosmic turning point are not fragile. They are the lasting results of your endurance, and they will touch every part of your life. The first and most immediate area of change is your finances, because the cycle that closes has carried years of scarcity, struggle, or sudden losses. Moments where you felt like the work you put in did not match the return you received. Times when you watched opportunities slip through your fingers or resources drain away just as you thought stability had arrived. For 15 years, you have been in training to handle the energy of money without fear. And now that training completes, and the universe releases abundance to you, not in trickles but in waves. The images I see are of unexpected sources, an inheritance you did not know was waiting at stake. A business idea that suddenly takes root, a flow of money arriving from places you had given up on. Even administrative or legal matters finally resolving in your favor. Scorpio, it will feel as though the accounts of the past have been balanced. And for once, they balance in your direction. With interest. But more than the relief of having resources, the deeper shift is the confidence that you can now create wealth consistently, that money no longer comes only to disappear but comes to stay, to grow, to serve as a foundation for the life you are stepping into. Alongside this financial renewal comes a transformation in love. And this may be even more striking to you. Because while money affects the material world, love touches the deepest parts of your soul. And the last 15 years have been hard on your heart. Many of you, Scorpio, have lived through betrayals, losses, the end of relationships you thought were eternal, or long stretches of loneliness where intimacy felt like a distant memory. The cycle of Saturn in your 12th house was not kind to matters of love, for it stripped away illusions and removed people who were never meant to hold your heart, leaving you often raw and questioning whether true connection even existed for you. But now, as this cycle closes, the universe brings either the reawakening of love in your existing partnership, a renewal so profound it feels like meeting for the first time, or the arrival of a destined connection, one that has been prepared for you through all these years of trial. This is not a casual encounter, not a passing flame, but a soul bond that mirrors your transformation. A love that honors the scars you carry and does not demand you hide them. This person has walked their own trials, endured their own long cycle of shadow. And now they meet you at the precise moment when both of you are ready, when both of you have become strong enough to build something that lasts. The transformation does not stop at your personal heart. It ripples out into family, where long-standing fractures begin to heal. Scorpio, many of you have carried ancestral wounds, inherited struggles, or silent burdens passed down through generations. Some of you may have experienced direct conflict with relatives, estrangement from loved ones, or unresolved matters involving inheritance, custody, or family dynamics that felt stuck in cycles of bitterness. These years of suffering have not been only about your individual journey. They have been about your lineage, about clearing karma that stretched far behind you. And with the closing of this cycle, reconciliation and healing become possible. A relative who seemed lost to you may return. Conversations that felt impossible may open, and the energy of peace may begin to flow through your bloodline for the first time in decades. The universe has chosen you, Scorpio, as a breaker of ancestral patterns, and the work you have done in silence now benefits not only you but your entire family line. This is why the relief will feel so profound. It is not just your heart being unburdened, it is the weight of generations lifting at once. Your health too reflects this transformation, because the body has carried the imprint of these 15 years. Starring stress, illness, chronic conditions, or fatigue that medicine could not fully explain or resolve. Scorpio, your body has been holding tension like a clenched fist, waiting for the alignment that would finally allow it to release. And as October 3rd passes, you may notice a surprising shift. The energy of healing activates, not as magic that erases all difficulties instantly, but as an awakening of your own capacity to regenerate, to recover, to strengthen. Long-standing conditions may ease, new vitality may surge, and doctors themselves may be surprised at improvements they cannot logically account for. This is not fantasy, it is the body responding to the lifting of karmic pressure, the nervous system recalibrating after years of survival mode, the cells remembering how to thrive instead of only endure. The gift of health returning is a reminder that you are not meant to live in constant pain, that joy and energy are natural states, and you are being restored to them now. And finally, Scorpio. The world begins to see you. For years you have worked in silence, developed skills in private, carried talents that no one seemed to notice, or labored in ways that went unrecognized. You may have doubted whether your gifts had any value, or felt frustrated that your efforts were hidden, your contributions overlooked. But as the cycle ends, this too changes. The universe brings recognition, public acknowledgement, opportunities for your work, your art, your voice, your leadership to be seen and honored. You will not have to shout to be noticed. Your energy itself will draw attention. Projects you started quietly may suddenly gain visibility. Ideas you shared that were dismissed before may now be embraced. And for many Scorpios, this moment will mark the beginning of a role where you are no longer in the shadows, but at the center, where your experience becomes medicine for others, your story becomes guidance, your presence becomes a source of inspiration. The pain of the last 15 years was not only shaping you, it was preparing you to lead, to shine, to be recognized in a way that cannot be taken from you. All of these transformations, financial relief, love renewed, family reconciled, health restored, recognition granted are not separate blessings but interconnected waves of the same release. When the prison doors of the cycle close, everything inside you realigns, and the external world mirrors that shift. You may feel overwhelmed at first by the speed and scale of change, because after years of scarcity, love may flood you. After years of rejection, recognition may arrive. After years of illness, vitality may surge, and you will need to adjust, to learn how to live in abundance instead of survival, to learn how to receive instead of resist, to learn how to carry joy without guilt. Scorpio, this is why I tell you with calm and certainty, prepare now, not with fear, but with readiness. Clear your space. Release what you no longer need. Open your heart to the possibility that life can be good, not someday, but soon. October 3rd is the date the universe has marked, and what follows is not random. It is the reward written into the contract of your soul. Do not doubt it. Do not delay it. Do not sabotage it with disbelief. Walk into this transformation with steady steps, and know that everything you endured has led you here, to this moment of total change. For 15 years, you have been learning in darkness, and now the light comes, not as a soft glow, but as a blaze. It will touch your money, your love, your family, your health, your recognition, and it will leave no part of you unchanged. You will not be who you were. Scorpio, you will be freer, stronger, more whole. This is the promise of October 3rd, 2025. This is the moment when the universe itself declares the suffering is complete. The cycle is over. The transformation is yours. Scorpio, as the weight of this story gathers into its last pages, what must be said is not a repetition of what you already know, but a confirmation of what you are becoming. Because endings in truth are not the quiet silences we sometimes imagine. They are thresholds. Doors swinging closed at your back while another set opens before you. And the great portal of October 3rd, 2025, is precisely such a threshold. A gate marked by 15 years of trial and preparation. A door of suffering sealed behind you forever, and a door of abundance, love, healing, recognition, and power swinging wide into your future. And the message that must be placed into your heart is that this ending is not fragile. It cannot be undone. It has been sealed by the universe itself, and no force, no person, no shadow can reverse it. The path that has carried you since 2010 was narrow and heavy, lined with losses and betrayals, teaching you through pain what you could not learn through comfort, shaping you with silence and isolation until you were strong enough to carry not only your own karmic load, but fragments of the collective burdens of Scorpio itself. And there were moments along that path when you thought the darkness would consume you, when you wondered why no rescue came, when you doubted whether light was even real. And yet here you stand, at the very cusp of release, proof that the darkness was not final, proof that you were never abandoned, proof that survival itself was sacred training. The universe knew what it was doing when it placed you in the furnace of those years, because the soul of Scorpio is forged through fire and shadow, and only by enduring could you become the unbreakable force you are now. But endurance was never meant to be your permanent state. And the truth of this ending is that the season of survival is over. What comes after is not another test, but the flowering of everything those years prepared you for. And this flowering will not be subtle or partial. It will arrive in full force, touching every aspect of your life until you no longer recognize the person you once were. Finances will swell not only through steady earnings, but through unexpected streams, inheritances, partnerships, opportunities that feel as though they have been waiting for you all along, finally able to arrive because the karmic blocks that kept them out have dissolved. Love will no longer be the battlefield it once was. It will arrive in the form of a partnership that is equal, transformative, destined, or for those already joined. It will renew in such a way that it feels like meeting again for the first time, the wounds healed, the trust restored. Family, too, will shift as patterns passed down through generations finally come to a halt, ancestral karma dissolving through the very trials you carried, and reconciliation, forgiveness, or peaceful detachment replacing bitterness and silence. Your body, which has long borne the weight of exhaustion and strain, will find renewal in ways that may surprise you. Chronic conditions easing, vitality returning, energy flowing, as if cells themselves are rejoicing in the release of a cycle that has ended. And what medicine could not always fix, the lifting of karmic weight will heal, and the recognition that has so long eluded you, the acknowledgement of your gifts, your talents, your voice, your art, will finally arrive, because you were not meant to hide forever. You were only waiting for the precise moment when your emergence would matter most, when your presence would serve not just yourself, but those around you, inspiring, guiding, and healing. These transformations are not separate blessings scattered at random. They are the natural consequences of a cycle completed. Imagine a tree that has endured 15 years of drought, roots digging deep into barren soil, bark scarred, branches sparse, and then suddenly the rains return. The sun warms the ground, and everything the tree stored silently within itself bursts forth at once: leaves, blossoms, fruit, shade, abundance, and no one who looks at that tree now can believe the desolation it once endured. That is the image of you after October 3rd. What you receive is not a reward handed to you from outside. It is the flowering of what has been stored inside all along. Waiting for the exact moment the universe decreed, the drought was finished. And because you carried not only your personal burdens, but also the weight of Scorpio energy as a whole, your transformation becomes collective. Others will see themselves reflected in your story. Others will draw courage from your resilience. Others will look to you as proof that cycles do end, that suffering does not last forever, that darkness is never stronger than light. This is why you are being called a lighthouse, because your very presence, steady and unmovable, will shine into the storms of others, not chasing them, not forcing them, but guiding them simply by being. You have been broken down so that you could shine without distortion, stripped of illusion so that your light is pure, And now the universe raises you into visibility, not to inflate your ego, but to ensure that your survival serves a greater purpose. The conclusion then, Scorpio, is not simply that your personal hell is endingly, but that your story itself becomes a medicine for the collective. And the crown you are being given is not only wealth or love or health or recognition, but spiritual authority, the unshakable presence of one who has endured and therefore cannot be shaken by ordinary storms. This is the kind of authority no institution can bestow. No teacher can grant, no title can confer. It comes only from surviving what should have destroyed you and standing anyway. That is why October 3rd is not just another turning of the calendar. It is the coronation of your spirit, the crowning of your soul after 15 years of labor in the dark. From this point forward, when you look back on the years since 2010, you will not only see the betrayals and losses, you will see the hidden purpose woven through them. The way each loss created space, each silence cultivated strength, each wound became a scar that marked survival rather than defeat. And as you look forward, you will see not endless trial, but endless possibility. Because the universe is no longer holding you in training, it is placing you in position. You are no longer the student hidden in the shadows. You are the guide illuminated by light. You are no longer crawling through fire. You are standing tall as its master. So the final words must be spoken with clarity. The cycle is closed. The debt is paid. The gate is sealed. The prison is no more. October 3rd is the cosmic decree of your release. And beyond, it stretches a horizon that is brighter, wider, freer than you have ever known. Walk into it without hesitation. Receive what comes without guilt. Shine without apology. The universe has waited for this moment as long as you have. And now that it is here, nothing will ever be the same. Scorpio, your 15 years of darkness are erased. Your new age begins. And you step into it not as the broken survivor of a cruel fate, but as the luminous lighthouse, the soul reborn, the spirit crowned with power that no shadow can ever touch again.